And welcome, everybody, to This Is Difficult, the podcast where we talk about video game and video game related things, and sometimes it's difficult to do so. It's
Like
hard.
when your computer updates like 5 minutes before the show.
Yeah. Even
Well,
just now, I was hearing some audio that like kind of went silent, and I'm like, "Oh, did something already break?" Was what I was just thinking, but I think it was just like,
no,
oh,
Chamali hadn't muted
that's
his
what it
mic
was.
yet.
It was
Yeah,
Somali.
I was
Okay, I was
looking
like, "Oh, something already broke."
at the mixer.
Uh,
Yeah.
But welcome aboard, everyone. I'm Lord Yeshua, your co-host. My real name is Josh. Hi, how's it going? We are on Paul Ryugami-san's channel on Twitch. Welcome aboard. And we have Zach, another letdown in the corner over there, or on the side. I don't remember where we are on this.
We're in the corner. We're all in the corner. It's
we're
fine.
all in the corner somewhere. And welcome. So let's talk about some video game, guys. I'm going to pass the volleyball over to Polyball. And
Volleyball.
Oh my God!
keep it
All
going.
right.
Keep it going. All
Excellent.
right. Go,
Well,
go.
yeah, excited to be here tonight, you guys. Excited to see you guys.
Super.
Yeah, what we're gonna talk about what we always do: video games. What video games get? Oh, I can't talk. All right.
Speaking is
Let's
a
start
huge problem
over.
tonight.
Man. So right before we started, I literally had a Windows update, and it started at like 7:25, thinking, oh, this will take like 3 minutes, and I'll have time to get in and get everything set up before we go live. And it took way longer than that. I wasn't logged into my computer until like 7:48, and I'm just scrambling to get everything working.
To be quick,
And then
Yeah.
it takes forever. So
That's why we started late. Anyway, and that's why I'm
made it.
slightly flustered. But what games have you guys been playing this week, you guys?
So many. Okay, I'll talk since I'm talking already.
Let's hear it.
I'm not going to review it today, but me and Colin did. The big game for us this week was Kirby's All Stars for the Super Nintendo. And we had played it in the past, but never like all the way through all the game modes. And so we like went all the way to the end. There's a secret game mode for those who don't know, where like you can like interchange all your power ups, and that's really fun. So I'm just going to say that. I love talking about that. It's like so fun for me because normally you suck up a guy and get its power, and it's it. But like this one, you can change them like their items in your inventory. So it's so fun. And then I played a little Donkey Kong Country and discovered the rewind feature on the Super Nintendo thing, and that's really awesome. You can literally just rewind it by holding L and R. And then played some Champions Road exclusively on Super Mario 3D All-Stars with 4Gs. And we're literally just running that to try and beat it with Toad and Luigi now on Champions Road, the ultimate level. And like we almost got it. We were so close tonight. We played right before the podcast, but still cannot, do it. Yeah. So, but yeah, we will prevail. That's pretty fun. So that's pretty much it for me. Yeah, just those. Well, yeah. Pass it
Excellent. Zach, what'd you play, man?
I played a bunch of stuff. Primarily, like the ones that I actually sat down to properly play were Batman Arkham City and the demo for the game Outriders, which, oh my God, I love that game. And I don't want it to go the way of Anthem. Oh gods,
I don't want
be
to
successful
either.
because Outriders is amazing.
It's very fun.
Once it's released, Alex and I have added that to the Gear Up list. We're definitely going to play that together. Chamali's probably going to join us.
Nice.
It's going to be a great time. So we're super excited about that. And I'll have a proper either preview or review of that depending on time and scheduling to be determined. We'll see. But yeah, it looks great. I went over to my sister's house yesterday and revisited Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with a bunch of the new characters, which
so good. Are all broken.
They're all really broken.
They're all
really broken.
Like the game was so balanced. I can't. And then like every DLC character that gets introduced is like stupid, and I'm like,
they're
why
ridiculous. I can't I can't rely. Now, okay, granted, I was playing with my 6-year-old niece on my team.
She crushed you? Oh, I was on your team, yeah.
But so literally, it was just me fighting the two computer players. But like level 3 computer players are kicking my butt.
Yeah, dude. Oh, that's
like what the crap.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, these characters are busted.
Yeah, dude.
But it's still a blast. It's still super fun.
They're all really broken. I love Banjo though. Banjo is awesome. Just being in the game, I'm really happy that Banjo and Kazooie are in Smash.
Yeah,
That's like an
absolutely.
honorary thing, and like they're
Yeah.
remembered now. That was huge for them to be brought back, and like people are literally like, "What is this game?" And I'm like, "Wow, I can't believe other people don't know what this is." But then
Right.
the younger generation, now that it's being reintroduced to banjo as a new thing, they're like, "Let me play the old game." So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I
It's
think.
So that
gotta
was fun.
be next
Also,
to impossible to balance a game with that many characters in that
that's what I keep
style.
thinking, Paul. Is like
Yeah.
back when it was melee or even brawl,
Mhm.
like, okay, the characters are very fixed. Like, here's what you got. And people complained, oh, look, it's just another sword character. Well, yes, because it's balanced. It's inherently balanced.
Yeah.
I thought
But
Smash
now there's
4 was
just like
pretty
40,
balanced.
50 characters. I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to play enough games with that to test it out properly.
Right. That's wild.
Yeah, that game is super unbalanced.
Which is why I put it down for a very, very long time. And it was my sister's birthday. Well, it is my sister's birthday tomorrow. And so we were celebrating yesterday, and I was like, I'm going to bring over Super Smash Brothers. It's going to be fine. And we played like 4 games of it, and we're like, Mario Kart 8. And that is ridiculous too. The levels in that are insane.
I actually love Mario Kart.
They're so fun though. I love that
absolutely
game.
adore it.
Yeah.
But I am so bad at it.
If you ever win online, it's a huge rush. It's like better than Fortnite win.
Yeah.
I don't play it online. Yeah, no, that's
it's
terrifying
really awesome.
to me. That's terrifying.
We played a ton of Mario Kart Double Dash was my jam.
Double Dash,
Prime brought that up in chat.
is my favorite, honestly, though. I love Double Dash. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely my second. I think this new one has like the best handling. It's so good.
I really love it too.
handling.
You know what's
Like, oh my
unfortunate
goodness.
though is there's a couple things that they took out of the game from the Wii U. Like the Wii U version of it's better.
Wait, what did they take out? I forgot it was on the Wii U. Yeah,
like the replay mode and stuff, like being able to like post your replays and clip your replays and stuff.
They did take that out.
Yeah,
but you can just clip your video on the Switch. You can clip
30
seconds. But it's not as nice.
Yeah, you used to have like compilations you could make of your win, and it was like, here's when I got hit, here's when I won, right? Or you could like edit the video, some shit. On the Wii U.
But regardless, like Mario Kart 8 is super fun, and like it's going to take me a while to get back to the point where I'm winning consistently like I was in Mario Kart Wii or Double Dash. But that's fine. Like if the only time I'm going to play that is at my sister's house anyway because I don't own it. And I'm like, okay, great. It's fun little casual. Definitely, I'm not sober game.
That's another great way to enjoy Mario Kart.
Is the best way to play Mario Kart.
Yes, and the only way to drink and drive, boys and girls.
I will say the new patch in Mario Kart 8 that allows you to have 2 items. It makes it essentially like Double Dash in a way. I really liked the item specificness in Double Dash though, where like I would specifically pick like both Koopas because I wanted as many shells and red shells as possible. Yeah, so I love that. Yeah,
Toad and Dry Bones was our combo.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. But just because like everything had its own thing. Yeah, you could go Toad and Toadette and like get like massive amounts of shrooms and just like hit every shortcut.
Exactly.
So, like, it was really cool, and you got different like classes and stuff in Double Dash. I will say I like that. I feel like 8 is a little more inclusive, where like every small, medium, and large character has their own way of doing it instead of being like only Boo has this item, etc. So like. But I think there's a way to maybe do both. And I like the 2-character thing. And I like the idea of teaming up with a second player. Like maybe you can do 2-player online co-op, like in Mario Kart, like where you're literally double dashed on. And like if you swap or someone gets hit, they switch maybe. And like then the other person takes over. And like,
there's got to be a new Mario Kart.
Every time you do a lap, that they switch or something.
We've been talking about it.
Mario Kart 9, I think, is on the. Was that a rumor though, or is that?
It's a rumor, but I really think it's
a rumor. Yeah,
I really
think Mario Kart 9
coming.
makes too much sense. Yeah, and it literally could like. I don't know. What about 8 though? It's on the same console. That's kind of annoying. But
well, here's the thing. 8 came out on the previous generation. This is 8 Redux.
It's just
whatever.
A port. Yeah,
I would maybe say if they do a 9, it should be like the version. I guess they're never going to stop making consoles though. But I would love to see like every level redone from all of it.
Oh my god! Right?
Every level
like,
and then
going
like
through the
fucking courses, like 10 new cups.
And the other thing that really bugged me is I was like, oh, go find one from GameCube. And Tegan goes and finds one from GameCube. I'm like, this is not the same level.
It's not the same. They totally revamped because they put the gravity twist and shit on that. There's like the gravity is a huge thing, and I would not mind there being like shout outs to the gravity in 8 and 7 like that. in 9 or Ultimate version, whatever, and they're being like, here's some of those levels, but it come back to what it was, which is just like straight up like awesome driving. Maybe a few that are like twisty and curvy, but like back to like some. And there are some of them that like they have like kind of like the crazy new ones, and then a lot of the old redubs is usually a redub though. But I would like to see some new ones that are in the style of the old, where it's just like a really good course that's just like flat.
So I don't know. It was very fun, and I'm excited to go back and do that. I mean, my whole family is almost vaccinated at this point, so we're hanging out a little bit more frequently, which is great.
Fun.
So anyway, the other 2 games that I played last week were Mario 3D Bowser's Fury. Still plugging my way through collecting the green stars, but I'm still having an absolute ball. It's great.
Yeah.
And then the game I'll be reviewing in a few minutes after Paul talks about his games for the week, 30XX. So Prime will be happy. Prime was just talking about it in chat. So we'll get into that in just a minute.
30XX is dope. I finished Neo 2, the main story in Neo 2 this week. And I actually today kind of dipped into some of the expansion, and I didn't realize, like, instead of like continuing, because Neo 1 takes place like right after Neo 2 does, right? So Neo 2 is kind of a prequel. So instead of like continuing the story forward from there, they took different like points in Japanese history or mythology and put you in that. So the first expansion is the tale of the Genji and the Heike, which is like the ultimate like Romeo and Juliet kind of story of Japan, you know, from the olden times, which is fucking rad. So I'm excited to play through that. I'm gonna do most of that off stream probably. I might do a couple more Neo streams, but it's
well,
time
that's
to
an
move.
interesting decision that you have to make. Is like, as I play through Arkham City, I'm like, okay, what side quests / DLCs am I going to play on stream, and which ones am I just going to
I just feel like I've been flooding the stream with Neo lately, and Neo 2 hasn't been doing so well on stream either. Even though I'm really enjoying it. Honestly, like, I could just play Neo and Neo 2 and be very happy as a gamer. They're fucking awesome games. So, but that being said, I want to play. There's other games that I want to play. There's other games that I want to stream. So, I'm gonna continue. Like I said, there might be, you know, if I'm having trouble finding something for Samurai Saturday, I might hop back into Neo or something like that. Whatever. But anyway, I am super impressed with that game, and will for sure continue playing it off stream at the very least, because it's just got tons and tons and tons of content, and it's all really good. So, very happy with that. I started my playthrough of Link's Awakening on stream this week as well. Very briefly, I only played the first dungeon, because it was like at the end of my Neo stream. My Neo stream went a little longer than I had planned, and so I just, you know, hopped in, did, you know, the Tail Cave, and then hopped out.
Tail Cave, such a classic Zelda dungeon.
And you're doing it on Switch?
On the Switch, the remake. We're doing the remake.
Nice.
And I've never beaten it on the Switch. I've beaten the game many times.
It's pretty amazing. It hits hard. It hits real well.
I think that was the first game I beat on Switch, like all the way.
I will say, be wary, because it's the shell stuff is more rewarding this time around. There's more shells though.
Well, and so that's what I was gonna get a walkthrough for that, because I didn't want to spend like hours on stream like fucking bumbling around digging holes trying to find secret
seashells. There's kind of like, I can't remember if there's like, I know there's now a like a shellometer of sorts. Yes, dig it. There's a shellometer of sorts, and I feel like there's a way to like pinpoint
like a dowsing rod kind of thing for the shells.
The general area now, so you can like be in the area and it goes boop boop boop, and it's like in that square for sure. Well, I guess it's not squares anymore, but like it's in that general area. So like definitely get that. There's like maybe a really good way to tell. I can't remember if you can like get it put on your map or something like that. But if you get all that shit, it's definitely worth it. Do that. Go 100%. I highly recommend is what I'm trying to say. Like, but it's a little harder this time around. But I thought it was a more full experience. Like when I first beat Link's Awakening and then like beat it over and over again, and I was like, this is a great game, but it's not as meaty as you want it to be. Like the secrets, there's only like a few hearts really and a few shells. And now it feels like more. And I think you actually get 20 hearts in this one. You can only get 14 hearts in the original Link's Awakening. So there's a lot more hearts.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure. You can fact check
You
me
might
on
be
that.
right. Yeah, I don't
Pretty sure on
remember
that.
honestly. So
Yeah.
the one thing that I don't like about the remake, that I noticed when I was playing on stream this time, is even though the new aesthetic is beautiful and I think they did a really awesome job
I
with it,
agree.
it makes the world feel way smaller.
Feels
Yeah,
like a
it really
playground.
does. Like
Yeah.
I'm used to
I
playing
mean,
a
for
2D
two
Zelda on the Game
reasons.
Boy.
Two reasons. Number one, like instead of playing in like the square box, you're
Yep.
playing in a letterbox, right?
Yeah.
And number two, you've got, way more pixels to work with, and so they crammed a lot of stuff in there. So when you're at the tail cave, like I remember when I was a kid walking up to the tail cave thinking it was like this big huge fucking cave that was, scary and ominous. And when I walk up to it, and it takes up the whole screen on your Game Boy, right?
Right.
When you
Which,
walk
I
up
mean,
to it
admittedly,
on the 3DS, or sorry, on the Switch,
Yeah.
it takes up a little more room than Josh is taking up in the the screen on stream right now. You know what I
Right.
mean? So it just makes everything look so much smaller, and you can see like the other areas next door, like above us, you can see the town, and to the right, you can see whatever shit's going on over there.
I will say one thing about what you're saying right now. There's a huge point that actually, like the seriousness and starkness of the game is like completely drained out by this new art style.
Right,
I'm
which
realizing that now. Yeah,
which
it's
is
like there
something
are-
that
Yeah,
even though it's a
didn't think about
handheld
that.
game, and even though it was a little
Yeah.
more cutesy and stuff than your regular Zelda, it still felt very, there were still moments at that game that felt very serious and very emotional and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. And I don't think they like ruined that by any means, but it's just a different feel.
The
you know?
ending
Yeah.
still hits. I'm telling you, the ending hits.
Oh, the ending
really
still
well.
hits.
Oh, so
That's
another
nice.
thing that bothered me
Yeah,
about
they
it
did that
too, and
well.
this is such a little gripe, but I'm gonna say it anyway. You know the very beginning when you see him in the cutscene on the ship?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the Game
They
Boy
did that.
version, it's playing this fucking rad, ominous music, and
Yeah,
it
they
really
changed it.
sets the mood.
Change the music.
It's silent, other than like the sound of the waves and the thunder. Um,
I like
and
the animation they made for
the
it, though.
animation's gorgeous, but I just wish it
Yeah.
had the music, man. Especially with how great they did rescoring the game throughout the rest of the game. All the
Mhm.
music's fantastic.
It's crazy to think that Link just got bumped on the head and this whole game was just
Yeah.
a trick. Well, no, I think actually, is everyone's beating the game here?
This is a keycap puller, if anyone.
You both beaten it, right?
Yeah, I've beaten it.
Okay, Zach, you beaten it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I think what happens is he actually gets absorbed into the dream. There's like a dream field almost, and he gets like slurped into it by getting knocked unconscious by the way, and then like he just gets like carried into it by the windfish. And I guess the windfish is actually the only physical thing in the game. Like he's actually in the egg. He might actually like literally be just like
you
asleep in
see
the
him
ocean.
at the end.
Yeah, he might just be like
leave.
asleep on the water,
Yeah,
and like you bump into each other when you're both asleep. That would be sweet to see like how this exactly goes down. Or he might just literally invade your dream just to be like, help, wake me up.
Yeah.
That's crazy too. That's like all like, but
There's a lot of really deep thought in this
there
game,
is.
like
There
way
really
deeper
is.
than a lot of people think.
People don't give it enough credit because it's shorter.
I
but
agree, yeah.
But I will say
it is shorter, but it's like it's perfect length.
I
Like,
think it's perfect
so
length,
good.
yeah. I will say the Game Boy version again, like it didn't feel as full and long, and it was more stark. But I do feel like the new version made it feel like more of a big game. Like when someone was like, "What's your favorite Zelda game on the Switch?" I was like, "Link's Awakening, of course." Like because it feels like such a good remake, and now it's like a full game for people that want to play it for the first time as well.
Right.
Instead of being like, "Oh, but Breath is so much bigger," be like, "I don't know, dude. Like this game is pretty much a full Zelda game now." Like it really feels as big as A Link to the Past. I mean,
it's always felt like a full Zelda game to me, but I can see the argument, just because there was limitations to the Game Boy, but for sure, yeah.
Did we get back check on the 20 hearts? I think it does now have 20 hearts, and so that's like a huge thing for me. Seeing the 20 hearts, I'm like, because the 14 before, I was like, it's kind of like off-brand.
The other game
So
I
it's-
played this week was Tenchu: Wrath of Heaven, which is a ninja game. Yeah.
No, you don't say.
You've never heard of Tenchu: Wrath of Heaven, Josh?
Dude,
That sounds so obscure.
It's the awesome. It's well, it's not the awesome.
It's really
a
cool.
very rad game. It was
so
my
rad.
favorite Tenchu game.
Ah.
But yeah, it's just a ninja game. It's badass. You're this cool ninja dude named Rikimaru, and you go around,
Ricky Martin?
doing missions and killing people.
Ricky
being
Martin the
stealth.
Ninja.
Ricky Martin.
the ninja.
Ricky
We're
Martin
just singing
is
Live in La
the main character.
Vida Samurai. I don't know. Live in La Vida Japan.
Oh my god.
My God.
Yeah. So I played a little bit of that for Samurai Saturdays this week. So yeah, those are the games I played. Very fun week for video games. It sounds like for all of us.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
all played some good stuff. Good stuff.
That all
So the
being
review.
said, it's time for our review. Zach,
It is.
are
and
you
it's
ready?
a preview.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it is a
ready. Let's
preview.
go.
It's a preview. Okay, let me switch scenes. Bammo. There you go. You're good to go.
All right. So I played with Adam. I played 30XX. Oh my God. Every Mega Man neuron in my brain was firing at light speed, which I guess is normal for brains. Like, this game is amazing.
Science class. All right. No.
Yeah. No, so it's developed by Battery Staple Games. Still to be determined on release date, but it is in early access. We played on Steam. That's where it's available for $20 or $19.99, I guess, technically. I cannot honestly come up with a thing that I didn't like about the game, other than the fact that there's definitely pieces missing. Paul pointed
but
out
that's
last
the
week-
expected
it's alpha,
early
so,
access.
yeah.
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 So it can
Paul
only
pointed
get
out
better. Yeah. Sorry.
But you're good. Paul pointed out last week that there's still characters you can talk to and stuff that are non-starters. It's just like, come back when the game is finished. And I'm like, okay, fine. I don't care. I just want to play Mega Man. And that is exactly what you get to do. It's procedurally built Mega Man and, roguelike, I guess. There are two characters available, Nina and Ace. I spent most of the footage you're watching behind us is me failing to play as Ace because Ace is way harder than Nina. That kind of bugged me too. I will say that, but not so much that I didn't enjoy my time playing. I like that they give you the option of playing functionally X and 0. Paul and I are both 0 guys. Adam is very much an X guy. So it made perfect sense for me to play as Ace and for Adam to play as Nina. What we discovered is I died a lot because Ace has to get into close combat with enemies where Nina can sit back and shoot them from afar. Also, Nina's upgrades are a lot more tangible than Ace's at the moment. So at one point, Adam had this one power up that let him literally just stand still and take out a boss who was hanging out on the ceiling.
It's ridiculous.
He just stood there.
Here's
and
the
I just stood
thing.
behind him.
Here's the thing about Mega Man games is like there's always been like a trade-off with playing 0 versus X, right?
Mhm.
You've got like the risk reward kind of dynamic going on there where 0 is a much higher skill character, but he does way more damage, right? So
Yes.
like it's definitely harder because you've got a sword, and in some incarnations you do have a buster, but it's not nearly as powerful as X's
As the
buster.
X-Buster, right.
So you're stuck using his sword or other melee weapons, and typically like I said, the risk is rewarded by having much more power. So
Yeah.
it sounds to me like in this game, and I did play it a little bit myself, just to check it out, and I played as the 0 character. I forget what his Ace. That's right. And but I didn't have a chance to check out the X character, but I could tell that there's definitely some serious need for balance.
Yeah, Ace takes like arguably he has a harder time dispatching enemies. So something I can just shoot with one charged buster shot with Nina, I can't do that with Ace. It still takes two swipes or a charged swipe if I happen to have been thinking about that. In the 0 games, I don't tend to charge up the sword quite as frequently as I do the buster. It's just not the way I play because playing on the Game Boy, that's a very awkward like position to hold the controller.
Really?
Also, my shoulder button was busted.
I disagree,
So-
man. I've always, no matter what game I'm playing, even on Mega Man on Game Boy, like I'm always holding down the Buster button or the attack button, and then you're bumping with your thumb to jump or whatever.
Right.
You know.
And that's
So-
and that's just, I don't know. It's never been something with Mega Man, with classic Mega Man. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
I do it with Zero too.
But with Zero, I for some reason I configured the controls to be the shoulder button for charge, and maybe that was a mistake.
Oh no,
but
no, that's
whatever.
right. You want the shoulder button to be your dash, for sure.
No,
You want.
to the charge the gun, charge the weapon.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
Which
a
is
mistake.
probably a mistake.
That's
I
a
use
huge
one of the shoulders to
mistake.
dash and the other to charge the gun. I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's a huge mistake.
But and maybe I'm just completely wrong too. Now I'm thinking about it. No, I definitely use the shoulder button, one of the shoulder buttons at least, to dash. So maybe maybe
Yeah.
I'm just deranged. But whatever, it's fine. So realistically, it's a Mega Man game that has better aspects. So I like this game a lot. Full stop.
Nice.
So yeah, the gameplay was incredibly fun. The art is super tight. It's the same sort of pixel art style that you would expect from any Mega Man game, barring Mega Man 11, I guess.
Mhm.
But it's really, really beautiful. Like, someone definitely took a lot of time. They redesigned all the characters for it from 20XX, and it shows. Like, someone really put a lot of time
That's
into
one
this.
thing that I noticed about this versus 20XX is 20XX kind of has like a cartoony aesthetic, almost like an old like Newgrounds game, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna,
And
that's the
so
comparison
even
I was
though
gonna
it,
make.
it played like a Mega Man game, it didn't really look like a Mega Man game. This
Right.
looks much more like a Mega Man game to me.
Yeah, this looks like the source
Yeah.
material.
Mhm.
And just as a tidbit, the names 20XX and 30XX come directly from the Mega Man franchise.
Right.
Mega Man Classic takes place in 20XX or thereabouts, where the X series takes place in 30XX, and then I think Zero is supposed to be like 31XX or something like that. It's weird.
Yeah,
Is it
I-
It's
timeline?
supposed to be years. Yeah, there is a timeline.
Oh, okay, that's years.
I
Okay.
have
Now I
tried to
know.
understand it,
I
and I'm just
thought,
like,
I thought
"Ugh."
I thought the X games were in 20XX.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 20XX and 30XX for X and Zero. I could be wrong. But it's like
Right,
it's
unknown territory here.
the Mega Man timeline is so messed up. And
It
there's
is.
time travel and stuff involved.
Of course, there
I
is.
just watched the cartoon, the Mega Man cartoon, like this morning, where
Okay,
X shows
so-
up.
You were close. So X is in 21XX, whereas
Okay.
so
then
it's
Zero is
100 years
30XX.
after the mainline
Mega
Mega
Man.
Man game. So mainline Mega Man's 20XX, X is 21XX, and then the Zero games are 30XX. And then I
30XX.
think Zero, whatever the final Zero game, I think that's 31XX.
Oh, Mega Man 04?
No, the
Or the ZX?
ZX. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Learning and growing. We're doing it.
Here we go.
The
Nailed it.
music is excellent. Like, honestly, I want a copy of the soundtrack on vinyl record, please.
It's really good.
It's so good. So it is still in early access. I've only gotten to like the end of the I've gotten 2 bosses in at any given time. It is roguelike and procedurally generated, which means that every run is different. And much like Hades, I don't feel like end game content is like, even if you reach end game content, it's not the end of the experience. You can
Right.
still play this over and over and over and
It's
over
gonna
again.
be
That's
different
great.
every time. Yeah.
So
Very
I'm not
challenging.
like the average run can range from a few minutes to an hour or so. Whatever, it's fine. You just play what you play. And unlike Hades, where I can sit down and say I'm going to play a run, I sit down with 30XX and I'm like, I'm going to play for this amount of time, and I can actually like whatever I'm doing at that time, I'm just done. It's fine.
Yeah.
Is the game difficult? Yeah, it's hard.
Extremely.
I had someone in my chat playing 20XX while watching Adam and me struggle with 30XX, and he was like, "This can't be this difficult." He turned it on, and he's like, "Oh, oh, this is really hard. Now I see why you're dying so much.
Which is crazy because 20XX is also really
It's
freaking
also
hard.
really hard.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's fine. It just means it's going to hold my attention for an extra long period of time, which I love. Every Mega Man game is difficult. I mean, they're notoriously difficult, but
Makes you
they
earn
hold
it.
your time, your attention for a specific amount of time once you know how to beat them. I can beat Mega Man 02 in an evening at this point.
Yeah.
Adam
I can beat Mega Man
X1
5 on the Game Boy in just a couple hours.
Right.
Yeah.
Adam proved he can beat X1 in, an evening as well, or like a couple of hours.
I did it on stream once. I beat X1. Well, I shouldn't say I beat it. I got to the very final boss. I got to Sigma and then just beat my head against the wall for a couple hours.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and that's how it goes for me as well.
Yeah.
I know how to do it. I just whatever.
It's just ridiculously hard. Yeah.
He's really hard. So 30XX is, again, and 20XX for that matter, are appropriately difficult. And that's great. I'm perfectly there for that. I know it's going to take me a while to get through it. But much like Josh and I were talking about Super Mario 3D World, feeling like you can feel yourself getting better at the game. This has that feeling where I don't think many of the Mega Man games do.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that.
You eventually become better. You do. But I can feel myself getting better at 30XX.
All right. Yeah.
Which is a very different thing in my mind.
Would you say that other Mega Man games, you feel, rather than feeling like you're getting better, you feel like you're getting more powerful? Like the trade-off isn't like, it's not like your skill as a player increasing, it's your power as a character in game increasing.
I think that's a huge part of it. Where 30XX, you always start at the same place, and you can incrementally augment that a little bit of in-game collectibles, but it's still you're pretty
it
much starting at the
absolutely
same place.
forces you to get better.
It does. It absolutely does. Especially with the roguelike nature, where it's different every time, and you have to adapt on the fly.
Yeah. I really like games that introduce a new mechanic or item or whatever, and then like they teach you how to use it, and then like push it to the max. So it's actually like a really difficult challenge to use it in some way, instead of just being like, here's a bazooka, it lets you blow enemies up easy now. Like, no, it's like,
no, that's not adapting.
I like it when each item, it adds to it, but also creates new mechanical difficulties in puzzles or whatever, in platforming. Or any of those things.
I will definitely be continuing to play 30XX pretty much anytime I have. If I've got 15 minutes, great, I'm going to play 30XX. If I've got 2 hours, great, I'm going to play 30XX for a bit of that at least. Overall rating, 10.
Damn, a 10. Perfect 10.
I don't give out 10s very easily, but this is a 10.
As a preview.
Yeah.
As a preview.
Nice.
So it can only get better, really.
It can only get better. This game is so rad.
I like that we're staying consistent with just having really high scores.
Well,
I gave out a 10 last week.
My last review, Jay and Silent Bob, was real bad.
That was our worst one, I think. Yeah,
it definitely was. But I mean, that should be expected because we're going to be we're playing games that we want to be playing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Maybe we should do something where
that was the one thing that I liked about our previous format for picking the game of the week or whatever it was instead of us just choosing what game, like that game was basically chosen for you.
Okay, so I have this
now
idea.
that caused some problems. I think our current format is better, but that was one of the things that I liked, is that we're playing games that we weren't familiar with. We were going out of our comfort zone, and I actually discovered a few games when we were doing that I never would have looked at, that I absolutely love now. So
2 years ago for Christmas, RPD gave me Metronomicon Slay the Dance Floor. I freaking love that game, and I did not expect to. He's like, this is the FP video game. I'm like, okay, sure, great. This is gonna be interesting. And that's another just game. I'm idle at my computer for 15 minutes. I'm gonna play a game.
Yeah,
that's like the Cadence of Hyrule, right? Wasn't it the original one? Oh, okay, yeah. Honestly, couldn't get into it. I think it's because I wanted it to be a Zelda game. And I was
Isn't there
like,
a mode that lets you play it more like a Zelda game?
Yeah, but it's still not really. It's just like you're much slower, and then you're like not quite getting that. You're not quite achieving what the game wants you to get.
Right.
It's probably better in its original state, I would say, unless you're like really good at this type of game. but like I couldn't really grasp it, like because the overworld thing like was always yeah
RP is pointing out that the Cadence of Hyrule was Crypt of the Necrodancer 2.
different game.
That's different. Yeah, Metronomicon is. Don't worry about it. It's a really goofy game. Just,
okay.
yeah, it's different. It's like a rhythm game with 4 players. It's very strange.
It's still a rhythm game though.
It's definitely a rhythm game.
Different though. Okay.
It's enjoyable.
It's all bad. Don't play into the things we're saying right now.
For $20 for early access, 30XX is definitely 110,000% worth the money. I would pay 40 or more for 30XX. It's so good.
50.
Really? Nice.
I don't know that I'd go to full. Maybe I would.
I think you'd pay 60.
It depends on how big the game ends up being.
100?
I would. So here's my thing.
As far as full new game price,
on the assumption that this game is going to improve, I would say you're 100% right.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty rad as is, but there's definitely room for improvement. It definitely has feels like an alpha in a lot of ways. Not necessarily in the gameplay. The gameplay is actually very tight, but there are some things about the game that do feel very early access. But on the assumption that that's all going to be fixed, which I'm sure it will, I think you're absolutely right about that price point. That being said, if it stayed in this state or similar, if they didn't fix some of the balance issues and stuff, that'd be a hard call for me personally.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, I mean, we know that there's going to be improvements. We know that they're watching, maybe not this show, but I'm going to tweet it out at them. We'll see. But it's so good. It's so good.
Which one's my camera? Is this my camera?
Who knows?
Watch our show.
So in closing, play 30XX, play with me and Adam, play with Paul, play with any of us. It's definitely plays best with 2 players.
Yeah,
which is a very unique thing for Mega Man.
Yeah,
is it local? That's a single player only. Is it only local?
No, we played. We played.
Oh, you played online. What am I thinking? Oh, well then.
There was a weird glitch where Adam, we'd finish a run, and Adam would be like, "Oh, I can't see you anymore," but I was like, "I can see you." But
some weird
strange. We ended up playing 1 or 2 runs where he was just reacting to where my sword was because he could see me swinging the sword.
That's weird. That'll definitely get fixed.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
So
very cool.
But yeah, game's great.
Right on.
That's
awesome review. Thank
2
you.
10s in a row. Nice. Was that the last review before that? And I gave it a 10. Super Mario 3D.
I think I've been the last 5 reviews. No, you did do. you did do 3. You did 3
show because I've been on for 3 months now, almost 3 months now, and I've done 1 review.
Yeah.
What was that your first?
That was my second.
This was second.
Jay and Silent Bob was my first.
Yeah.
And then I did my audition review, which was I don't even remember what it was.
Was that an audition?
It wasn't really an audition. It was just you were filling in, and it was we do need another person because
it was Battle Network. It was another Mega Man game.
Yeah.
I'm nothing if not a parody of myself.
That's okay. We all have our stereotypes.
Yeah.
Which
actually leads us right into our main topic for the day.
It does.
That actually is what I wanted to say. That's really funny.
Perfect segue. So the topic this week is formative games. Right, and this came from actually a conversation we were having with RPD in the Discord. Well, actually, it started on my stream, and I think it carried over into the Discord. But we were talking about, what games are, were formative to you as children, like growing up. What kind of informed your taste in video games, based on the games that you were exposed to early on. And there's a lot of games that would fall into this category. The
lists are a lot longer than you think, too. Because you have to think about all the different aspects that make you interested in gaming.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't really make a list because I thought that it would be a little more organic, just talking about the games and how I felt about them. But the whole conversation started with, I was actually talking about playing Link's Awakening on stream because that really was a formative game for me.
Absolutely.
RPD was like, yeah, I'm just kind of sick of people like, touting Zelda as like the main game that like that's how what formed everyone's,
Yeah.
gaming opinions. I was like, well, wait a minute. Like,
Isn't there a
it
reason?
it was for a lot of people, but obviously
Mhm.
there's people that are, generationally different. Like different games are gonna, you know, kind of hold that nostalgic spot for you
Yeah.
Yeah.
than other people. So, and we talked about that for a while. I just thought it would make a really great topic for tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, and then
Um,
Colin and I started talking about it behind the scenes, and
mhm,
we like I realized that Zelda is not a formative game for me.
yeah.
I was about to say it honestly, as much as it hits home, and I do want to play all the predecessor ones. It's actually not like a directly formative game for me either.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of weird. I have so many more that here someone else talk though. Who wants to say
To
this?
quote RPD, he said, and he just reminded me in the chat. He said, as I said, there's this weird sense of like canonical childhood, right? Like
Right.
everyone's childhood was, you know, Zelda, Mario, Pokemon,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that doesn't really fit his mold, right?
Right.
Mm,
And so I figured we should talk
okay.
about that because everyone probably has a different, canonical
Yeah.
childhood when it
Yeah.
came to their video games. My very, very first game that I ever owned
Hit us with it.
personally was Zelda Link's Awakening. It's
Mhm.
not the first video game I ever played. We did have like my dad had an Atari and my grandma had an Atari. And those were the first video games
Oh my
I ever
God.
played. Still to this day, two of my favorite games of all times are Joust and Centipede. I
Centipede.
Joust
absolutely
is so
freaking
good.
love those games so much. And even like when I come across a Joust clone or something like that, I'll play it for like an hour before putting it down, even if it's like some shitty remake of Joust, or
Yep.
anything that kind of plays like it. There's a really great game on you can actually get it on the Switch now, but I first saw it in the arcade. It's called like Killer Queen Black.
Hmm.
Have you guys played that?
Yeah, they have one at the arcade bar that we go to in
Yeah, it's
Minneapolis.
a badass like multiplayer arcade game that has like the
I have
the
heard of that.
base mechanic is like joust combat, right? But there's also a whole bunch of other ways to win the game. You can win the game like economically, you can win it, in so many different ways. That's not really what matters, but what does matter is because of joust, that game appeals to me so much.
Hmm.
Like I gravitate toward that game because Joust was a formative game for me, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um so
That's awesome.
I feel like a good start, where we can start
Yes.
from. What about you guys? What was one game that like really impacted your life at a young age and really kind of informed the games that you sought out going forward from there?
So there was a very long time where I knew that my type of game was real time strategy. And the
Mhm.
reason for that is StarCraft. That was the first
I had
game,
one of those.
similar to your Zelda, Paul.
That's true.
That was the
Yeah.
first game I owned.
Mhm.
And
StarCraft. Nice.
that's a little bit of an exaggeration because at one point we did have a Commodore 64 and I had Batman, but I played it briefly and it's a whole thing, not for today. It went away and it's fine. So the first game that I owned myself,
Put it down.
other than like Math Blaster and garbage
Math
like that,
Blaster,
which I
bro.
still use in my classroom because that game is dope.
Good.
But
Jumpstart first grade.
huh?
Jumpstart first grade.
What
No.
was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
what was there was like a reading, it wasn't Reading Blaster, but there was
There was
like
a Reader Blaster.
no,
That
yeah,
was
but there was a
Reading
platformer.
Mario teaches
Oh,
typing.
reading Word Munchers. Word Munchers.
Maybe
Word
that
Muncher.
was it. Bookworm for sure I played, but yeah, there was
Bookworm,
one that
yeah.
there was like it was a trilogy, and like there was
There was
like
Reader
these
Rabbit.
blobs.
Reader Rabbit was
Reader Rabbit
strange.
was interesting, yeah. But no, there was like a platformer, and there was like these blobs that would steal letters, and you had to like jump
Oh
on
yeah,
them and like.
that's Word Munchers.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah.
Word Munchers. Yeah,
It probably is. Those games were awesome.
they were great.
Yeah.
And I mean, anyway, but like the first game that I brought home of my own volition, I went out to Circuit City at the time,
Ooh, remember that place?
and I had $20 in my pocket that I made from selling Pokemon cards, probably.
Probably.
And uh, I bought a copy of StarCraft, and I knew I wasn't supposed to have it. And I marched home, installed it on our dumb little family Mac. My mom walked in and completely lost it.
I bet.
She got so mad at me for bringing a video game home. And my dad goes, who cares? Here's the funny part. Who cares? He's 16.
Oops.
I was 16 years old before I got my first video game of my own.
Oops. I thought you were
I
like
definitely
5.
played games with buddies and stuff, but that was the first one that I owned, and that was mine.
Yeah.
And I was also in charge of running a StarCraft tournament at the school, so I kind of needed a copy.
Right.
And that, there wasn't any copy protection on the CDs, so we just made a bajillion copies of it and generated fake
allegedly passcodes. He allegedly did this, Blizzard. Allegedly.
Yeah, he allegedly did this.
Allegedly.
Oh no,
No affiliation.
Blizzard already got me in trouble for that one when I was beta testing.
Oh, shit.
Anyway,
allegedly.
Oh my God.
That's a whole other story for another day, and you definitely can't prove anything because that copy of the disc is gone. I don't know.
Never existed in the first place.
Yeah. What disc? What disc?
What disc?
Exactly.
Anyway, so I played at that once I had finished StarCraft and Brood War. I was, Warcraft, and then my buddies for graduation got me Diablo 2.
Oh yeah.
And I mean the whole battle chest, so I played Diablo 1, even though I'd already played it at my friend's house.
Battle chest. Okay, so if we're admitting to illegal activities that we did when we were young and stupid and poor and wanted to play video games with our friends, I may or may know some people allegedly that would just take, like, we just passed the disc around, but what these people may have done
I know where you're going with this.
would go to like Target and just write down the CD code from inside the box, and then put it back on the shelf and go.
Oh wow, that's funny as hell.
I don't, I heard rumors of people doing that.
Oh my God. But no, I mean, we and I got that for graduating high school. My friend Josh got it for not this Josh, but a different Josh got it for me. And my mom completely lost her mind. She's like, it's rated M. You're going to be a serial killer. I was like, no, Mom, I get it. First of all, this is a medieval fighting game. Like, I've done extensive studies on the Middle Ages and I love reading about, Merlin and that kind of thing. I think I'll probably be okay at this point. And so far, right, I haven't, gone completely off my rocker. I'm a teacher. I guess that's kind of insane, but whatever. So yeah, it came down largely to that first game that I had that was mine. Like, that is my game. And I played, Command and Conquer and Age of Empires and all those real-time strategy games that were, at the time, extremely good. But
I would say they're still good. I really love those old RTSs. Command and Conquer was for me, and Warcraft 2.
Warcraft 2 was so
those
good.
were my favorite, like the whole Command and Conquer series, really, the originals. And then Warcraft 2 were my favorite RTSs. But yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat to you, just as far as like computer games are concerned. Like, really, those games and Diablo, I almost like failed junior year of high school because of Diablo 2. I played that way too much. Way too much. But yeah, that's some good stuff. What about you, Josh? What was like a game, like one game that really, really stood out and kind of like informed your gaming life going forward?
Yeah, mine is such an easy pick for me, and it's not a Zelda game or a Mario game. Actually, it's Donkey Kong Country 1, and it like literally for this game alone, like something about this mechanics and this platforming and something about it, I don't know, like made me want to just consume platforming games from then on. And so it wasn't the first game I owned. My buddy down the street owned a copy and an SNES. So until I was like 7, we played at his house, and we had the second, third one, but it was really the first one. I got so good at it, and it made me want to like run through games. It made me love speed running. Something about platforming, you can't fall off. You go as fast as you can. When you get it perfect, you feel that the level was really made for that. Like, it's something so pure and amazing. It's like gaming at its most pure, in my opinion. I don't know why. It's so perfect. So it has to be this game. The first game I ever owned was Super Mario 64, actually, and then I got a Game Boy after, and I got the Donkey Kong lands for that and all that. But 64, that kind of like melded for me. Like in owning a 64, like kind of melded that platforming into like 3D platforming and like Zelda type games and things like that. But like at its core, like for me, like platforming is just so good. And like it made Donkey Kong made me want like Cuphead. It made me want like Katana Zero and all that. It's like really a cornerstone for the type of gaming that I'm into. The other one, actually, if I had to pick a second game just to keep going, would actually be Star Fox 64. I know this sounds crazy, but this game is so like the best at what it does.
It
And
really
like,
is. I agree with that.
It really is. It really is like there's no other game like it. Any iteration before and after, and anything that attempts to be it, 2D, 3D, whatever, is just does not compare to Star Fox 64. It made me want that kind of like aerial combat thing, and like you can get your fix in other places, but like this game still is like the best aerial combat game in my opinion. Like period, it is so good, and that really set a precedent.
It depends on what
like,
you mean by aerial combat. So
well,
like
you know,
well,
like
because X-wing and TIE Fighter, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
like
say because of X-wing and TIE Fighter. That is,
I kind of mean like Galaga style, like track. Like if you're on a track and you go
like
through
an arcade, arcadey, like track-based aerial combat. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it
like
absolutely nails
stuff
that.
like that. Like the Galaga theme, but like Star Fox is really like ultimate Galaga.
Yes,
in that way.
it's a perfect evolution of that.
That's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, it really is in like a 3D scope. Like Shigeru Miyamoto is insane for coming up with this kind of stuff. But like, imagine Galaga, but
it wasn't him that came up with it. It was this like British kid that hacked a Game Boy.
Yeah, the kid came up with it.
Yeah,
Miyamoto must have just came up with Star Fox. Like,
he came up with the characters, but like the technique and like the style of Star Fox was actually invented for the Game Boy by this like 16-year-old British kid that hacked the Game Boy and figured out how to make like render 3D on the Game Boy. And Miyamoto was like, hire him. Bring him here. Bring him here. Hire him. And he's like, that's cool and all. Do that on the Super Nintendo. We're making a chip specifically for this. Like, boom, go. And that's where Star Fox came from.
With this.
Yep.
There it is. And yes, I have that one too. The Super Nintendo. It's great. You definitely get this arcade feel and you're like, cool, they really tried to transition this. This is awesome. And 64 hits and you're like, fuck.
64 is the best.
Nailed it. Damn, this is the best at this.
Dude, the tank.
It is. The tank, the underwater, like all of it.
Even
so,
on foot.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, on foot didn't happen until was on foot in multiplayer?
Yeah, in multiplayer.
Yes.
Yeah, you could do on foot in multiplayer. Yeah.
That's right, and it was co-op. Like that's another thing. It was ranked modes. It's like there's training modes. There's all kinds of stuff that I felt like this game was like really a lot. Even though I can now run this game in 45 minutes, and medal some of these levels too, which is beautiful. Like it's not a game where you have to go back and be like, oh, I have to collect. Like it's no like you can run this game, do as amazing as possible, medal the levels, get a new record all in one run, and just beat the game.
Yeah.
There's no
I did a playthrough on my birthday when I was going through N64 games.
Yeah. So good. And then like everything that came after, like I remember I played Assault and I love Dinosaur why do I keep calling it that?
Dinosaur Planet?
Star Fox Adventures. The Star Fox Adventures is good. It takes Zelda and Star Fox and mixes them. And I think that the aerial combat in that game, when you're like going to the planets, is as close to 64 as you can get. But like they all fell short. You get the adventure. Assault really fell short in my mind, and anything after that, I'm just like, But you said the new one was really good, but it's still it's not 64.
I haven't played it. My brother really loves it.
Not Starlink, right?
Oh, Starlink, yes. Okay, so Starlink it's not Star Fox, but it's very close to Star Fox, and you can basically play it as a Star Fox game. But it's not on rails. It's all basically open universe.
It's open.
So that's the one thing that
and that's fine,
isn't just
but
tractor. It's still really good. Like all range mode was probably one of my favorite parts of Star Fox anyway.
Yep.
But
I know, like the
whole game is all range mode, instead of being, having like specific.
I will say the adding of all range mode and the having of scenes and like 64 is just done in such a way that the rails really make it. Like being on rails really makes that game. Like if you just had to decide where to go, you'd be like, okay, I'm bored. The fact that it feeds you these levels like incrementally, like so awesome.
And the ones that aren't on rails are the right size. Like they're pretty big levels, but they're not so big that you feel lost or like You know,
Yeah.
like there's definitely a focus and an objective when you're on those all range mode missions.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Fortuna is
Yeah.
like Tatooine straight up. Like gives
Yeah.
you Tatooine vibes. And then like the satellite Bulls, I
It's
love this level.
yeah,
It has
the
like a field and you're getting like pulled around it in all sorts of ways.
what's
You have to
the is
break
that
down
the
the
one
field.
that is it wait, which one's like the Independence Day? Like you're literally fighting against the Independence Day ships.
Oh, that Katina or
Katina,
Katana.
yeah.
Katana.
Katana. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, is it
That's my
Katana or
favorite level
Katina?
in the
No,
I think it's
Check there.
Katina.
It's Katina.
I think it's
Yeah.
Katina.
It is Katina.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I
my
should trust
favorite
my
level in
gut.
the game.
I
That
love
game's
that level.
fucking
It's like
rad.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
meet like Bill, this like old war buddy of Fox's,
Uh-huh.
and you're like, oh, there's like backstory and there's
Yeah.
other characters, and like this game is
Yeah,
huge.
doesn't
And
he
there's
also suicide himself like the dude in Independence Day?
no, he lives if you do it
No.
right. If
Yeah.
you do
Okay.
it right, you like destroy it before it hits, but otherwise
Oh
you
yeah,
might take
you're
him
right.
out. There's
I
like
know, I
these
thought he
characters
flew
like
into it.
recur. You flew into it?
I don't know. I
No.
don't remember.
I don't think so.
No one suicides in that game.
Okay.
I mean, it's a
And
cartoon.
then there's all like, yeah, there's like
Maybe
the
I'm
James
just like
McCloud
mixing,
series.
like actually confusing my
Yeah.
memories with Independence Day.
The gravity
which is
of
a
the
great movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's an awesome movie.
the gravity of the story in Star Fox for being so short of a game, amazing. And like the
Mhm.
Fox, his James McCloud stuff, like his dad stuff, like that
Yes.
hits hard. Like the storyline is like so good and concise. They just don't make games like that anymore. in my opinion.
Well,
They do
and-
and they don't. But
And that's a really good point that you brought that up, Josh, because most of the games on my formative games list have really good, well-written, well-crafted stories. I'm talking about StarCraft, Red Faction 2. Like that was the first story, the game that I wanted to progress through the campaign levels because there were stories. There was a story to be told there. Resident Evil 4, like
Ocarina of Time made
Ocarina of
stories.
Time,
for me. That
absolutely.
really was what turned me on to story games. I was like,
but
oh, Paper Mario. Oh my god.
even the game, the first like game that I got, first game I ever got in trouble for playing at a friend's house was Twisted Metal 3. There's a
Oh my
story
God.
to the Twisted Metal games
Yeah.
that is really, really cool.
They
And
used to put
creepy.
story in almost all games. Like
Yeah,
they did.
And it wasn't always the best story, but there used to be story in almost all games.
And that's,
even
anybody
Mortal
who
Kombat.
watches me stream is knows that I'm all about story. That's what I stream is campaign modes and story modes and things that are well written. Gear Up is exclusively about that. We've played the entire Gears of War franchise story.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear the story is pretty good in those games.
So
Wouldn't
It's
know.
one of
very
the questions brought up by our director here is how have they influenced you outside of gaming? For me, I'm dyslexic. That's not a secret to anyone. But I had a very, very hard time learning to read when I was young.
Mhm.
Very hard time.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest motivator for me to keep reading was video games, was Zelda, Link's Awakening. That was my first game. I owned that game. That was my game, and I wanted to play it, and I wanted to understand what was going on,
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reading in that game, and that
There's a lot of
actually,
dialogue.
like for a kid that age that has trouble freaking reading because you've got
Yeah.
a learning disability, like that, but so that also led me to seek out more games like that because it
Mhm.
made, when you have like, your parents and teachers like shoving books in your face and like trying to like force you to learn how to read in a way that's not fun, like
Right.
that sucks. And that was like a huge struggle for me as a kid.
Yeah.
But like, so like finding something that like made that enjoyable was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Which is
Oh, yeah.
why, like Zelda, Pokemon was later. Pokemon came out when I was 10, so I was still like, still struggling with it quite a bit then,
Yeah.
Um,
Ocarina of Time though.
yeah,
Damn.
but
Come on.
other
That was
other
like how I
yeah,
learned how to read. personally.
RPGs like that were, I think instrumental in me like getting past a lot of those hurdles.
Oh yeah.
So,
For me, it's a little different because I didn't have that same difficulty growing up,
Mhm.
but the stories that were told in video games became the kinds of stories that I wanted to tell in film. So I studied filmmaking when I was in college, and I teach it now to some extent. And those were the stories that influenced me. Those are the stories that I want to see on the big screen. And whether I'm making them or not, I don't care. I want to understand how they're created. And it made me into a better writer and indeed a better artist. Folks watching live can't see this, but Chamali was just trolling us with a miniature he painted. That's, I'm trying, when I paint miniatures on my stream, I'm trying to capture a certain aesthetic that I see in video games. All the Batman minis that I'm working on right now are coming straight out of Arkham City. And I want to engage with the content that's been created in these video games. Even something as foolish as NHL 94, there's a reason that the Hartford Whalers are still, they're my favorite defunct NHL team because they were the best team in NHL 94. They could clobber in NHL 94. I don't know how or why, but that was part of growing up for me, is playing NHL 94 with my cousin.
I think it was it, I'm trying to remember what the best team was in Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey 98. That was like the
98 would have been,
I want to say it was either
Flyers, maybe.
Was that, I think it was either Phoenix or Denver were.
Oh yeah, it could have been the Colorado Avalanche. That was
Avalanche.
That
was
makes sense.
Pretty awesome then, and that's my team. So
fair enough. I love the Avalanche.
Yeah.
Nothing but respect.
Yeah.
I'm a Bruins fan. Just make it clear that's my team, and they're doing really bad this year. But much respect to the Avalanche as well.
What about you, Josh? Was there any games or any like an effect of gaming that impacted you outside of gaming?
I think that mine is more close to Paul's, where like I had like reading disabilities and stuff like that, and massive ADHD. It was like really bad. Like, I went to like learning school for my to rein in my behavioral and like learning disabilities at the same time. And so, yeah, full disclosure. Yeah. But like, so games like Donkey Kong actually like really helped me rein in my focus and like, and even still, like it kind of just like centers me a little when I play those types of games. Because I can just like run them and I'm just like, it just like feels like clockwork. Like this game just like, it works so well when I play it. Like, it's almost like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like winding up a clock or doing some kind of soothing, bullshit. It's really.
Oh, there's definitely like a Zen-like nature to video games. Like you hit like a flow state, especially in the types of games that you're mentioning, where you need that like perfect timing and control for like platforming. You definitely will hit a flow state sometimes. And like
it's great.
An awesome feeling.
The flow state is definitely really massive for someone with like crazy ADHD and like all that kind of shit. So just because it kind of just like really focused me in on just like this exact task that you cannot mess up. Like it's perfect hair trigger, like slightest jump mistakes and you die. And it's like, okay, I like really have to focus on like playing this all out, especially if I want to go as fast as I want. And, I love when you like learn these games and like a new Donkey Kong comes out, I'll like explore it 100% it and all that until I get a feel for the levels. And then I will run it and I will run it until I can fucking all out speed run these levels completely. Like Tropical Freeze. That's like, that is an amazing homage. Like if you guys haven't played it and are fans of Donkey Kong Country Originals, this game is so incredible. And David Wise came back to do the soundtrack too. But like, it's just for that all out feel where like, when you finally get as amazing as you can just not stop and trust the level like rewards you by saying, yeah, that's what it was built for actually, like to go as fast as possible. Like, it's just so awesome. And you have to focus so hard on that kind of stuff just because you have to be perfect at it. That's pretty fun.
There's one more question in our notes that I do want to get to before we close here, and that is, how has your outside life influenced your gaming? Because I have one particularly strong and kind of depressing story. One of the games that I haven't mentioned, and I tend not to, it was Portal 2. Portal, and indeed the source games, Half-Life, Counter-Strike, etc., would be formative for me. And I guess arguably are, and I don't play them very much anymore. And that's because when Portal 1 came out, I was in the middle of a very, very difficult situation with my roommates. They were particularly unkind to me, and I ended up actually basically moving out of our shared space and going to live in a dorm room with my buddy. Because they were just horrible to me. I was a little bit different than they were. I'm a musician and they did not appreciate that in any way. and I wasn't as good at games as they are, and they really got upset when we tried to play together, and that really soured my opinion on video games for a very, very, very long time. I talk about having a gap in my my game knowledge and my game experiences. That's why. The last Zelda game that I played before the Link's Awakening reboot, I think, was Phantom Hourglass, and I borrowed my buddy's my roommate's DS for that.
2007 or something.
Yeah. So there's a huge gap there, and like I would occasionally play things like the Batman Arkham Asylum games or Left 4 Dead with my friends back home, but I didn't play with anybody on campus. I didn't let anybody see that I was playing games because I was so ashamed about it. And I love games, and I wanted to play them, but I was just like, I can't let anybody see this. Even when Mario Galaxy came out, I was just player 2. I just sat there collecting star bits. I didn't trust myself to play the game, the actual game. So in that way, that horrible experience with my roommates was in many ways formative, and that's why I can't play, or I don't enjoy first person shooters the way I used to.
Yeah.
And even like I do enjoy Left 4 Dead. I love it a lot, but I don't play it all that often because I've still got that nagging voice in the back of my head, like, that you suck, you're terrible at this.
I will say, man, it was always fun playing Destiny with you, and you held your own, and you did a great job. It was always a blast.
And I appreciate that, Paul. And that's really playing Destiny with you and Adam and Candace and the crew. That's what brought me back. I feel much more confident.
That warms my heart a little bit.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to go for that, like break everybody's heart and then be like, yeah, I'm back now though, and we're feeling better. So
that's awesome.
One of the games that I've got, I just updated my 2 stream list, and Earthfall is on the list. It's a alien Left 4 Dead sort of thing.
That sounds fun.
And I'm very excited. I think I'm not sure if we're going to do that on Gear Up or if I'm just going to do that on my own, but that'll come eventually. I got a long list.
Very cool. Very cool. As far as them impacting me outside, like impacting my outside life, it's always just been like, for me, it's always been an escape. I can't say that it's necessarily like made me make different decisions or like had a big impact in, obviously, some friendships were based on the video games I played with some people. In fact, one of my best friends, who very rarely but sometimes appears in the Discord, I met him on a Game Boy Advance emulation website when I was about like 14. We were both moderators for like the forum and the chat, and we started playing games together, and we've been like super close ever since. I call him like once a week. He's actually the guy I've been talking about, a modded 3DS. He's the guy who hooked me up with that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll be able to stream from that 3DS soon, because that was the whole goal behind that in the first place. But yeah, he's the guy who hooked me up with that. So like really it's been a source of like kind of escaping bad situations and experiencing, and like communicating with friends, like that's a way of connecting with people that I wouldn't normally have connected with. I wouldn't say anything as impactful as what you had mentioned, Zach, but that's probably,
it's kind of hard to beat when your roommate tells you nobody likes you.
Damn.
Like literally, I sat down for lunch. I'm like, can I take the seat? And he goes, Zach, nobody likes you, right?
Oh,
that is rough, dude. Josh just turned into like a oh, there he's back. That was so weird. I don't know. No, your video got freaky on the podcast for a minute. What about you, Josh? Was there anything that kind of any way video games impacted your life outside of video games?
I will say the escape thing a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of like fucked up, honestly, psychologically, to say this kind of stuff. Like, be like knowing it's an escape and like acknowledging that is kind of like dangerous territory. I feel like psychologically, but,
Mhm.
like, because like, what are we escaping? Like ourselves, a situation. But it is like a movie, a book. I've always akin
Yeah.
video games to these
Mhm.
things where like you can create these amazing worlds, and imagination is like amazing. I don't think it should go to waste. And sometimes you just need a little direction with that. And video games are like perfect for that. It's literally like I would akin it to like reading a really good book where you can get
Yeah.
all of these emotions and feelings and attached to characters and the storyline. You really do care about what's going to happen. So like for me, it just kind of gave me not only like a mild escape from reality, but also like these amazing stories that I feel like I couldn't get anywhere else. And I was like, I really felt like a part of that in some way. And like the gameplay, it made me feel like I was really good at something. So like there was that also, like where you get really good, like Donkey Kong, and I was like, damn, like I have this. Like this is something I am really good at. No one can take that away from you. Like it's just a really fun thing that I can just tune out and enjoy this, and it's like mine. Like that's huge with gaming. It's a very personal experience. Like we all have our own stories with it. So there's that, but I will say the friendship thing also. I've made like tons of friendships through gaming as just like a conduit, especially like with streaming. You guys,
Honestly, I wouldn't know
and, like,
any of you guys if it wasn't.
Yeah,
for you.
exactly.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't know either of
me
you.
and Colin have been friends since I was 19, so we've been friends for 12 years now.
Okay, I
And
might know you only because Colin and I have known each other for so
we
long.
probably met back in the day.
Yeah, because I've known Colin since Colin was like 12, probably.
Oh
Yeah, and I mean, I've been friends
13.
with your brother for the better part of the decade, Paul. So.
Yeah.
But again, because of gaming, not video gaming.
Right, exactly.
But,
Gaming in some
and I
respects,
honestly probably would have never gotten into Adam's Discord had it not been for video games.
Right.
So yeah. There's a chance we wouldn't know each other at all had it not been for video games.
I will say now in my life, it's just like a chill, like not even an escape, but like it's just like a feel good. Like I can like it's kind of still like reading a book. I feel like now where like gaming is like really just a nice chill thing to do, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't feel like I'm escaping now. It feels like I'm kind of just like relaxing with a good book. That's more what I feel like now that I'm an adult and I'm not running away from anything by like or whatever and playing just to play for some random reason because I'm
Says the guy who literally just ran away to Florida.
What? Don't tell him where I live.
It's a huge state, dog.
I'm not running away from anything though, but that's not what I'm saying. But like,
I know. I'm just giving you crap.
God damn it. It's just nice to like unwind with a good book, quote unquote, like a nice game, play some levels of Mario or Donkey Kong.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. It's not something I do really as an escape anymore. It's more of like a relaxation thing for me. There's definitely a time in my life where it was an escape.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm glad it's not that anymore. I'm glad it's just something that I can sit down and enjoy.
It's just a genuine like love for the hobby now. It's just like, these are great games. Like I can really appreciate this, the nostalgia of it all, and yet like the history of gaming, like all of it. Like we appreciate. We have all of our own lores, like you guys, the Mega Man and the Zelda, Mario, like all. We have all this knowledge in here and like these stories that are so impactful in different ways, and all these different timelines, and it's like, and all these different gameplays that were like, these are just so good for these different reasons. Like a game can be good not just for the story, but because of like the art style, the audio, the visual, the gameplay itself can make a game like just so memorable and good. And you're just like, it's so good for so many different reasons. So it's cool. It's
I
cool
agree.
Thing.
Let's wrap it up, guys. If you guys want to continue this conversation, because I really think that everyone has their own video game story, and that's kind of what this was about.
Send us your video game stories.
Definitely
guys.
hit us up in the Discord and tell us your video game stories. And we would love to chat with you guys. We talked about this with RPD for a while, and a couple other people who were in the chat, and it was just like a really awesome conversation. I love hearing that stuff from you guys. So, but yeah, hit us up, let us know. All the information is in the chat right now as far as where you can find us on YouTube, Discord, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, bloody blah blah, all those places. If you're watching the show live right now, you're watching it on my channel, which is Ryugami-san on Twitch. You can also yell at me on Twitter at Ryugami-sama. And then, if you're watching it on YouTube, please share it and hang out with us on other social platforms.
Yeah, do that.
Josh, where are you at, man?
Where am I at? Lord Yeshua on Twitch really is it, but I do have other socials. Lord Yeshua TTV if you want to see the history of the Lord. I'm not really running other socials anymore, honestly. So I feel like if I do anything, it's probably going to be streaming, and it's pretty infrequent. I'm not
We
gonna
would
say I
love
won't
to
do
see
it.
you come back to
I
it.
want to come
Yeah,
back. I want to
dude.
do a certain. It needs
Yeah.
to be all right scenario. Like I need to have time also, and I don't want to like. I'm really enjoying real life right now, and I feel like I don't want streaming to be. It's just like 4 hours of my life. I got to sit there in a chair, and I'm like, I could be doing a lot of other things. I'm not hating on it. I love it, but like I'm doing a lot of like other things in real life right now, and it's kind of hard to carve out time for streaming. There's that. That's just so hard. So I just find it so much easier to casually pick up. Like Colin will just hit me up and be like, let's go right now. And I'm like, all right, like, 2 minutes or an hour. Must be nice. Damn it. But it's just so easy. Right? You just
I'm
pull up my
half kidding.
Switch
I'm half
play.
kidding.
It's very nice to again make gaming like that relaxation moment where it's like not like invading. So yeah, Lord Yeshua, give him a follow anyway. You'll see what he does. Why not?
Zach, where can we find you, man?
I'm on Twitch at Another Letdown, live Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. Thursday is Gears of some kind. We're hoping to make Gears Tactics work with Parsec. Colin seems to think he's fixed it. So we'll see. If not, we'll play Horde mode and it'll be great. Friday, we're playing Arkham Horror, either first or second edition to be determined on Tabletop Simulator. And then Saturday, painting miniatures.
Ooh.
And then I'm similarly on Twitter. You can yell at me at DENONCZD.
Excellent. Any closing thoughts before we shut things down here?
We're being yelled at.
Yeah, I was seeing that Shamali was typing something, but I couldn't see it. Friday is a new game producer picked this week. Oh, okay.
Oh no, Chamali, we're not doing that yet. I haven't even announced it.
Whatever.
We are doing something slightly different on Trapped in Arkham coming up very soon.
Okay, cool.
But I haven't even announced it yet, so
all right, we'll see.
We're
Anyway,
Arkham
everyone have an awesome night. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thanks
We'll see you. I'll be back on Tuesday. Oh, hey, I'll be here Tuesday, but I won't be here Wednesday. I'm out, and then I'll be back on Saturday for Samurai Saturdays.
Be safe and careful when you're traveling.
Yeah.
Don't cough in anyone's face. I'm just kidding.
Cool. All right. Night, guys. Have a good night, everyone. Goodbye.